You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hey there, Young and the Restless fans. It's Belinda from Soap Dirt, and I've got your full Young and the Restless episode info for Wednesday, July 26, 2023. This is everything you're going to see on the next Y&R. We're going to capture this one. Nate craps on Nick, and Sally says yes, because those are the big takeaways for me from watching this episode. Just to get you warmed up, we're going to have scenes with Victor and Jill, Victor and Nate, Diane, Jack, and Billy. Nate and all the Newman males are going to have run-ins, and we're going to have some Sally scenes, both with Nick and with Adam. All right, we're going to dig into this. If you haven't already, please reach down, click subscribe so you don't miss any of our Y&R updates. If you click that little bell, also, they'll notify you when there's a brand new video ready for you to watch. Digging in. As we predicted, Jill Abbott is on, but it is a video call. Jess Walton is calling in from her Oregon ranch. She did not mosey to LA for this little bit part that she has in Wednesday's episode. So Victor's calling Jill, and they talk about the job offer he made to Sally Spectra to helm this whole new branch of Newman Enterprises. And Jill's wondering why, when he basically sees her as this carny drifter lowlife, is he going to hand over a new division of the company to him? And he says he wants to keep her close to the family. That's one of those keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer thing. I think he's probably going to be looking for opportunities to sabotage any relationship between her and Nick, between her and Adam, between her and anybody. And then Nate shows up at the house as requested, and turns out he's running Newman Enterprises while Victoria and Nikki are out of town. So the mustache warns him not to get comfortable in the big chair. Also of note is that Nate's got a new fancy big boy CEO suit to wear to celebrate getting to sit in Victoria's chair while she is gone. And Victor tells him there will always be a Newman running Newman Enterprises, that it's a family business. And he tells him to keep his aspirations in check, even though he does admire ambition. All right, over at the Abbott mansion, we've got Diane, Jack, and Billy plotting. This is the Trojan horse scheme they have cooked up. So they plan to stage an argument of Jack and Diane versus Billy. That will let him get closer to Tucker and Ashley, to ruin their plan to ruin Jabot, to hopefully sabotage their new business. And Jack's not sure about this, but Billy insists. And Billy says he's just got to convince them that he dislikes Diane like they do. And he also plans to give Tucker and Ashley bad intel, but Jack is worried that they are going to lure Billy to the dark side. And Billy kind of feels he's a little annoyed. He feels like Jack doesn't trust him, but Jack immediately says, no, that's not it. I do trust you. I'm sorry. I'm just anxious. And so it's game on for this plan, and he leaves. And then Jack and Diane do some canoodling and I love yous, and he calls her his inspiration, his love, all that good stuff. And she mentions that Harrison is excited about their wedding, and Jack's idea is to find a justice of the peace and get married right away. And as we know, that wedding kicks off this Friday from official Y&R spoilers. So then we've got some scenes of Nate versus Nick and Nate versus Billy. Nate's just going around and pissing off everybody in Genoa City on Wednesday. And I have to say, A, Sean Dominic is such a hunk. I love looking at any scenes with him. And B, I love that they have made him a corporate villain, because, it was Victor versus Jack for so long, and they needed a new generation. So they've made Victoria a business villain, and now they've made Nate a business villain, and I'm really enjoying it. I kind of like that he's not a good guy anymore. I can't stand Nate, but I think Sean Dominic is doing a wonderful job. I hope you guys think so too. Let us know in the comments what you think. So after Nate leaves the ranch, he does what Victor said not to do, and he goes and gets comfy in Victoria's CEO chair. He's taking it for a little test drive, and Nick walks by and sees them and scoffs at Nate, and they get into this little pissing match. And Nick says that Nate climbed over him to try and get his way to the top to grab the brass ring. But Nate claps back and says Nick's got no ambition, and that's why he's out. Side note, I agree with Nate. I don't think Nick has a lot of ambition. He's grown up rich and he's spoiled and he's hunky. And what does he need an ambition for? I mean, really. So Nate just tells Nick, look, you got to go, man. I'm working. Leave me alone. So he just dismisses him, which is funny. And then later, Nate and Billy have a run-in at the GCAC. Nate's just getting off a call with Victoria, and they start arguing about her, and Billy doesn't think he's a good influence on her, this and that. And Nate basically tells Billy, look, you don't really know the woman at all or what she needs. And boy, that's going to tick Billy off, considering that they were married more than once. And, he did love her, but they're not together. And Nate may not be completely wrong about Billy not knowing what she needs. So then Nate goes back to Newman Enterprises, and there's Audra stroking his ego, reassuring him, and he repeats what Victor says about family running Newman Enterprises. So Audra says that he should commit to Victoria. I think they are laying groundwork and plans to maybe make Nate family, and then he can take over. I mean, I don't think in the end he's going to see Victoria as an obstacle, and I think he'd shove her aside too. So Nate also finds time to tick off Adam, by the way. It's just a little brief run-in, so I'm not going to get into it. But all the Newman men are watching Nate very carefully. All right, we've got some Nick and Sally scenes and some Nick and Adam scenes. So Nick spent the night in Sally's suite at the GCAC. And here's my question. Where's his son, Christian? Shouldn't he be with his son? I mean, why not have Sally go to the house, other than they don't want to, crank that set out? But it just seems like really bad parenting. I mean, if he didn't want to spend time with him, he should have just left the kid with Adam, right? Because that is his biological dad. So Sally thinks that Victor made a good offer. Nick is still very skeptical. And Sally makes it clear that she wants his dad's approval and trust. So before we get into the Adam and Sally, if you haven't already, please reach down, click subscribe so you don't miss any of our Y&R updates. And if you're enjoying this What's Happening on Wednesday episode, we'd love it if you'd click like. All right. So Adam and Sally have a run-in at Crimson Lights while Nick is off arguing with other people, and he asks her about her LA trip, and she saw her sister and her grandma, and she says they gave her some insight about him and said that Sally was being too hard on him, and she sees that that's true. She realizes that he's grieving the loss of baby Ava also. And then Adam starts kind of prodding her about her feelings for Nick and whether it's love. She won't say that she loves him. She calls it affection, which if you're a Sally Adam shipper, that's promising. Is promising that she's not saying, no, I love Nick more than anything. So she also tells him about his dad's job offer to her, and he agrees with Nick that Victor is up to something. And then Nick shows up, and so the two brothers are there with her, and Sally tells them both at the same time, I'm taking the job. She says she's going to try and trust Victor, says this will be good for her career, and she's going to go for it. So obviously they're going to be on high alert, because I can't imagine that Victor doesn't have ulterior motives. Can you?
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.